Hello everyone, this is actually a free energy system. No matter what you call it, we are here to demonstrate and to show us beyond what is being touted about free energy. And this actually is a modified observed flux pulse motor system. I call it modified in the sense that when you look at the coil, the shape of this coil, you now see that the north pole and the south, they are actually facing the same place. So when this coil is energized, all you get is a kind of south pole here and your north pole here, instead of the north up and maybe south down. Here is the same coil underneath. You can see from there. Actually, this is the output from the system, which is from this coil. Then this capacitor here is showing you that the back EMF supplied for this pulse motor is charging this bank of capacitors, and this is actually coming from this back EMF energy. This is the supply current to this system, and here is the voltage. Voltage is we have 13.1 amp, and this is the MOSFET, which is serving us as the trigger system, this trigger unit, and this is actually a magnetic reed switch. So I have to start this system in order to explain actually what is happening here. So now from this, the system is off and the flywheel is still running. Look at what is happening. This is actually an energy generated just from this flywheel, and I have to explain further the function and the working of this setup. So you can see how easy it is to stop this flywheel trying to stop this system. Yeah, this is actually how we did this. There is a magnet here, a cube-like magnet embedded into this wooden flywheel. So we still have another magnets that are embedded in just something like this, just using the same distance as this, but though that one is not as powerful as what we have here. We have one strong magnet and the other lighter one, but actually because of cost and unavailability of this type of magnet over here, that's why we are making use of this and the other smaller ones. So the concept is to utilize or harness the energy or the pulse effect of this electromagnet, both sides of the pulsing system. That means If we are repelling the north, the south will also react to this same system and producing a higher torque. And this concept is beyond pulse motor because the idea is to synchronize this system with actually the force of nature. When we allow the force of nature to play a part in our energy harnessing system, it is actually possible that we can transmute much energy higher than what we are feeding into the system. We actually want to look at the energy of this system holistically, not in terms of electric current alone. Looking beyond the current and the voltage, which is the electrical power, we actually think of converting both the heat coming from this system, the heat that is generated from this system, into something else. Then allowing the force of nature to play its own part in this system means we are using the energy of space to generate electricity. We want to transmute the energy in the environment to generate much power. World women, when you try to push this thing from the center, from the shaft, it is a bit difficult to achieving that, but you need actually a lesser force to get this thing spinning. And we now see that the wider this flywheel is, the stronger the shaft power. That means if we make this thing wider, then we can actually multiply the power being generated or being harnessed. We are not talking about generating, we are talking about the energy that is existing in the universe. Yes, the law of thermodynamics says you cannot create energy. Yes, it is true. But we can transmute this energy. And when we talk about transmutation of energy, that means we talk about converting this energy from one state to the other. When you look at this magnet, it is just a piece of iron which has undergone a process that allowed it to now be kind of absorb the magnetic energy in the environment. That means when you take this magnet out of this place or out to the outer space, you see that it will no longer act as a magnet because there is little or no magnetic flux or force existing there. That means this magnet is a magnet as a function of location where it is placed. So a magnet, we can say, is an energy transducer. It is receiving the magnetic flux from the environment and concentrating it into this smaller place. Going by that, energy was not created, whereas we try to concentrate this energy that is around us. So the energy of space we are trying to harness using this flywheel is also a part of the whole concept of transmuting higher energy from little ones we want to introduce into this system. So the force that is propelling this system will be multiplied by the radius of this flywheel. That means if we have 2 Newton pushing this times maybe about 2 meters wide flywheel, that means 2 times 2 is giving us 4. When we have 10 Newton pushing this, the same 2 meters, we have 20. If we have 10 Newton and we made this thing wider up to 6 meters, we are talking of 20. Okay, 10 times 6, which is 60 Newton or 60 watts. That means actually the same energy input, because we have introduced the environmental power or force into it, we are now able to transmute more energy than what we are actually adding to the setup. So just like when we design a system that uses lesser force or power in order to accomplish a particular task, we tag it that this setup has a particular mechanical advantage. That same mechanical advantage is just trying to utilize the force of nature to accomplish a task where we only apply a fraction of the total force that is in that system. So what we want to introduce here is not just the ordinary pulse motor concept, No, we want to show you the hidden part of this setup that has taken us much time to accomplish. We've invested time, we've invested energy, and we've invested enough resources trying to figure out what it takes to transmute or harness more energy from a particular setup. Because the idea of limiting ourselves with the laws of physics that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be transformed from one place, from one point source to another. Yeah, it is true. The energy we are talking about is the energy in the universe, and that is why we want to go beyond that concept that is limiting us. We want to look into it and know that yes, you cannot add more energy than what is already existing in the universe. But actually you can concentrate this energy and use it to achieve a particular purpose. What you need to do is learn how to concentrate this energy. Okay, for instance, this is a magnet. This magnet has undergone a process, and today the normal piece of steel is now a strong permanent magnet. After spending little energy to convert it to a magnet, now you can attract, pull, and do much work with this piece of steel, whereas you are not adding any other energy to it to make it a magnet. It is now a permanent magnet. When you now check the energy that is used in this process, comparing it with what you have gained from it, you now know that the system is actually possible to create free energy. So this energy we are trying to recreate, or let's say transmute, we now want to synchronize our design with the force of nature, using the energy of the space to generate more output from what we have introduced into the system. So, going by the concept of this magnetic energy, you now know that it is actually possible, because this magnet, you just induce the current to it, and boom, it becomes a permanent magnet, and you can use it to generate energy until after a while it will take years before the magnet fades off. Thereby you are not adding, rather it has undergone a process that has allowed it to harvest or transmute the force of nature into what you can now use to generate electricity. So the same concept is what we want to apply here. As the radius of this system is actually widened, we generate more power from this setup as a result of increase in the distance from the point of application of force. So we are not violating any law, we just want to keep the record straight, that what you have been deceived, or what you have been told about systems that has mechanical advantage, like if you have been opportune to reside in Africa, you see that we have a lot of setup that is actually utilizing or producing energy more than what we are actually putting into the system. We use our wheelbarrows every day, and you know what it takes, lifting maybe up to 50 liters of water over a distance. But since we have something like that, you can easily move it, because you have a system that is actually utilizing the force of nature to make that possible. So if all those things have not violated the laws of physics, I believe we have not done anything harmful or unlawful to these laws which we try to protect. The laws are there to show us or to guide us, but not there to restrict us or to keep us in the dark. No, and not at all. So these laws is talking about the totality of the energy in the whole universe. That means you can neither add nor remove energy from the universal energy bank, or whatsoever you call it. So you harness gravitational force, you convert it into whatsoever you want. Particles die, life ends, and everything goes in circles. Like I showed you the garden over there, those things in a few months time you cut it and up they go. But the same energy that created them, that they use while growing, will still go back to the earth, turn to dust, and the cycle continues. So you drop a grain of corn, and after a while, when you drop it or buried it on the soil, all you get is more than the number you have dropped there, showing you that actually whenever you sow energy into the system, into the universal energy bank, you end up reaping more than you have actually sowed. So by this concept, we are good to go. So this is the starter coil, a C-shaped starter coil. When you induce it, you have your north pole and the south pole. All the concept is, all we want to achieve here is to make sure we are utilizing both poles of this electromagnet. So once this energy is induced here, the reaction is that you produce an induced magnetic flux, maybe the north and the south. But the conventional motors you have here uses only either the north or the south pole. The other goes unused and untapped. And if you can tell me that this DC motor, permanent magnet DC motor, is actually converting this at the efficiency of above 50 to 60%, that means when we apply this to our own system, we are sure we can generate or design energy that is above or close to the marginal point that you wouldn't want us to mention. All we can target, we now design a system that is, I wouldn't say beyond the 100% efficient benchmark, no. Efficiency benchmark, no. Some group of persons might be offended when we say an over unit system, but whatsoever you call it, that's your own business. So with this, we have the north and the south. Remember, when this is induced, when you connect electricity or a current to this coil, there is an outflow of magnetic flux or an inflow of magnetic flux from the environment inside this starter, making this a magnet at that instant. So because of that, we try to introduce another set of coils into this system in order to harness these reactions. So as this flux is entering this system, we now try to place another set of coils in between this and the permanent magnet. This only harnesses reactive charges. So that repulsive force that is pushing the magnet from this starter coil will induce electricity into this tiny gauge of wire or coil, making this another source of power or output. This whole energy is not created by this, rather it is converted or transmuted by this coil. So the energy existing in this universe has been transmuted into electricity due to the reaction between this and the starter coil. Fine. That's the outer energy flowing in this environment and at the top of this starter coil. Now, going inside the system, when you know this principle, we say as above, so also below. That means what exists at the outside also replicates itself inside. So that interaction of magnetic flux over this coil, and on top of that stator we still have another source which is already known, the back EMF from the collapsing flux of this electromagnet, the usual back EMF that we generate from our pulse motor system. Charges your batteries, and here we have a bank of capacitors that is 2.7 volts 100 farad capacitor bank. Now we still make use of it here as a source power just for the triggering unit. Then this is the normal battery bank that is supplying energy to this system. Because this thing has been up and running, this permanent magnet motor has been on for a while because of the energy stored from the back EMF since we started this video. So we want to continue. This is the real switch, and this is actually the LED bulbs that will utilize the energy from the system, from this coil. Now we've not added the normal output magnet here that should act as the alternator. We are going there. So let's see how this system runs. So this is the other part of it. Let's give it a notch and see what's happened. Because we've altered. Okay, let's see. So remember, this unit is repelling this with a force of 2 and not 1 alone. This and this other one. So everything is there. The two magnets are embedded inside this. Back to the system. Yes, the flywheel has gained a lot of acceleration, and this is actually the output from the reactions of the coil and the magnet, the upper unit over there. Then you can see from this, trying to show you that, yeah, yes, okay, the capacitors are fully charged because of the back EMF from this setup. And this is the input current consumed by this. And here is the real switch. Try to show us everything as the process keep on going. So that's it for today. I believe we are moving a bit closer to where we are going. And the goal is to make sure that we enjoy the freedom we deserve and try to prove ourselves that and to confirm the fact that whatsoever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, because all you see is mind. The whole universe is a product of a mindset, and here we are here to replicate that same concept, showing us that everything is possible if you just believe, work towards it, and it is achievable. The goal is not to limit you, but the goal is to encourage and to keep the fire burning. Let's meet you in our next video as we expatiate and expand this concept beyond the norm, beyond what we think or believe. Thank you, and God bless.